this will get better. Because all we're looking at is which is growing faster? Is production growing faster than consumption, or is consumption growing faster than production? And you can trace, all this is just a mirror image up here. So let's look at the better story. Let's look at what happened here. How did we bring this down to there? We were at like 23, almost 24% carryover stocks. We brought them back down to about 6 in 2 years. How the hell did we do that? Okay, so one of it, and again, this is a timing thing. Remember, we had already harvested our crop before we had the trade one agreement. I mean, the tariff part 1, right? Wait a minute now. So in the next year, we cut production. We cut our planted acres, which brought us from here down to here. And then we had phase 1 agreement, which brought consumption back up here. And what happened to production? There was a delay. There was a lag. We didn't plant as many acres because we still weren't sure about this. And so we had 1, 2, 3 years where we had more production than consumption. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we had 1, 2, 3 years, well, 2 years basically, but the third year, where production was below consumption. And what happened? Boom, we bring her back down. Now, I know the story because I know the dates. Back here, I don't remember exactly. I'd have to look it up to be able to tell you the full story. But it looks like it's something similar. We had a couple years where we had really planted a lot of beans, had a lot of good yields, and then we said, wait a minute, we overdid it. So we cut soybean plantings and yields. Consumption didn't change. We brought inventories down. Make sense? The reason I point to the blue bars is just a lot easier to see what's going on. And I can show you, I'd have to dig for them. They're in the slide deck someplace. I do the same thing globally. So, and globally, those numbers are a lot closer together. Production and consumption. Now, part of that is, well, you can't consume it unless you produce it. I get that. So there's kind of a chicken and the egg problem here. But we do have reserves and carryover as that buffer. Okay? So the short story is, all we need to do is get consumption growing faster than production. We don't have to drop production. We just don't grow as fast. We'll fix this. This isn't going to last forever. I guarantee it. I just don't know when it's going to end. I don't. I wish I did. If I'd know you, I'd tell you. But I don't know. So like I said, I'm not clairvoyant. Okay?
And apparently you don't want to be rich either.
Yeah. Well, okay. So literally on Wednesday, I did this program in Dickinson. And there was literally, I know, so you guys know Tommy Grasaffi? He's a trader, right?
Was he there?
He was there, yeah. He was ahead of me. It was Tommy went, and then I went. And I've known him since he came up here. And so let me go to, hang on, let me go. So I got interviewed by a national radio broadcaster, and I talked about I explained the corn silage thing. Because I asked him, well, has anybody talked about where did the 1.3 million acres come from? He said, no, nobody really knows. And I said, well, it's simple. So I explained it to him. And all of a sudden, he's spreading it to all of his buddies in the radio industry, and my name shows up in the press. So Tommy Grasaffi gets a text message from one of his trader buddies in Chicago. He said, hey, do you know this guy? He said, you're in North Dakota. You know this guy? And he texted back, yeah, I know him. And he read my quote. And he came up to me before he went on, and he said, you know, if you would have told me that on Monday morning, we could have made a lot of money. And yeah, we could have made a lot of money.
Tommy should know better than going to a WASDE report without his butt covered.
Oh, no, he wasn't. No, he's been, right now he's all worked up about silver, but. So no, Tommy is smart. I mean, you don't trade as long as he does without knowing how to cover rear end.
Those young people out there, I hope they appreciated you guys being out there.
I hope so. I hope so. Hope they learned something. Anything else?
Is canola about the same as soybeans then, or?
You asked it. You asked the question. I got some slides. Now I think, I got to remember here, did I update? I did not. I did not update the canola numbers, so I'm sorry. We got new, no, this, I didn't update the canola. I can still tell the story. The current number, canola production is up. They cut their acres, but they had way bigger yields. Canola production is up. The biggest problem canola has right now is, again, if you take US canola times 10, that's Canadian canola. You take Canadian canola production times 10, that's US soybean production. Okay, so for relative size. Now, why do you raise soybeans? To make money. Well, besides that.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Fixed nitrogen.
No, well, why would somebody buy soybeans?
For the oil and meal.
Mainly for the meal. They crush soybeans mainly for the meal. The oil over the last couple of years has got some value. But before that, you were just trying to figure out what the heck do we do with the oil. I'm after the meal. Now, if you're crushing canola or you're crushing sunflower, what are you after? Oil. The oil. The oil. So canola, the Canadian canola futures follow U.S. soybean oil very closely. They don't follow soybeans as close. But they're all oil seeds. But soybeans is more about meal, canola more about oil. Okay, so why is that important? Food oil. It's human food oil. Okay, not energy oil. Well, although Canadians are after some of our renewable fuels market too. Now, Canada exports, well, here's the chart. Here we go. These are kind of older numbers, but they haven't really changed much. Blue line is what they crush, the red line is what they export. The reason their exports have been down, in particular this year and into maybe next year, China stopped buying Canadian canola also. And China is the #1 buyer of Canadian canola. There's the map. Blue is China.
Are they just making do with soybean oil then? Is that?
No, they're buying some canola out of Australia. They're buying some more meal out of, soybean oil out of Argentina. They're making up for it. But the Canadians are kind of getting hammered because going back, about 40% of the canola is exported. Most of that goes to China. Even when they crush it, most of the oil comes to the U.S., most of the meal goes to China. Now, Prime Minister Mark Carney out of Canada is just returning from several days of negotiations with the Chinese, President Xi and his staff. It sounds, based on what I read this morning, that they have some kind of agreement worked out so China will start to buy Canadian canola. My guess is, I didn't see it, but my guess is canola prices are up today.
What is the canola meal being used for in China? Because
Animal feed.
They would have you believe you can't feed canola meal to a pig, but I don't.
Oh, the Canadians do it every day.
I know that, but not here in North Dakota.
Oh, yeah. They're too used to soybean meal. The Canadians, the guys, I hate to say this, I'm going to get into trouble. The Canadian hog guys look at the U.S. hog guys and said, boy, you're silly. Because they're doing canola meal and barley, and their feed rations and growth rates are almost the same as soybean meal and corn, and that ration is cheaper for the Canadian. Now, the reason the Iowa hog feeders don't use canola meal and barley is because what? You got to ship it down there. Use what you have local. You can feed it. You got to be careful what you do. You got to make sure you got to rebalance your diet. It's not like soybean meal and corn. You got to do things differently. It works fine.
What about how did soybean meal get established as being the protein source? Why would we start crushing soybeans years ago just for the meal? Now, traditionally, protein source was a co-product from like the cottonseed production or something of that nature, where it was a highly palatable meal from as a co-product, not the main product. This soybean meal is. Can you answer?
It's easy. No, that's easy. That's easy.
What?
Okay, so a couple things. It started with my understanding. Again, this is my understanding of the history. As the hog industry went from an outdoor to a confinement system.
Keyword hog.
What's that?
The key word was hog.
Hogs. It started with hogs. It did not start with cattle.
All right.
We are so programmed to think about beef in this area, we forget about hogs. This started with hogs.
And probably poultry too.
And poultry too. Now, so think about where they have a lot of the poultry. It is down in the south. And they're using, for a protein source, they were using cotton meal, cottonseed meal, blood meal, okay? We started growing soybeans in the U.S. back in the 40s and 50s. And they started crushing it as a protein source for poultry and hogs. So when you'll go from outdoor hog production. So let me rephrase that. And I told this joke back when we were at the first trade war. I said, okay guys, what two things, I only know of two things that a hog won't eat. What are they? Concrete and stainless steel. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to grow really fast. But if they're outside and they're backyard hogs, who cares? Now, the minute you move them inside to try and control disease, get better growth rates, now all of a sudden, instead of throwing the feed to them and have them forage, you got to bring the feed to them. And if you build a building to put the hogs inside, what happens to your cost of production? Boom. You got to have really good growth rates of gain to be able to pay for the darn building. Right? Which means you better feed them really well so they grow really fast. And they need carbohydrates and protein. What's the cheapest protein source? And when the hogs...
Also,
what's that?
most palatable. Also.
And most palatable, because as long as they'll eat it, right?
Yeah, they got
hogs.
Cars.
They do. The hogs are picky eaters. They'll eat what they have to, but I mean, come on. You give me a steak versus, something else. I'll eat the steak every day. All right. So is it palatable? Okay, now, it was much easier and faster to grow the soybean production than it was cottonseed oil. What do you grow cotton for? It's not the seeds.
That's a co-product.
That's a co-product. It's for the fiber, right? Well, how many acres of cotton do we have in the U.S.?
We had a lot.
We used to have a lot. We don't have so much anymore. We didn't produce enough cottonseed oil for all the hogs that went inside. So we had to look for a different protein source. And again, you get into different parts of the country, they'll reblend hog rations and dairy rations and beef rations based on what's cheapest. It's just, you know what? We found out soybean meal and corn make a beautiful mix for dang near every species. And all we're doing, I'll be blunt, and this is a friend of mine said this. He said, let's face it, at the end for cattle, by the time they go to slaughter, they're just big pigs. I mean, how much roughage are those guys getting at the end? Just enough to keep them regular. That's about it. And other than that, it's corn and soybean meal to try and put some marbling on.
Don't stand behind them.
And don't stand behind them. I mean, when they're young, it's all grass, but as they get older, you start transitioning them. And that's, he just called them big pigs. So with that, I'll stop. All right, guys, I got to go. I got to get home tonight before my wife kills me. Thank you for your time and attention. This landed a lot longer than I thought, but I appreciate your attendance, and thanks for all the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Yep. You got a long recording there, man.
Thank you.
Some editing.
That was very good. Thank you. Are you at the Corn and Soybean Expo in Fargo in February?
I am not.
You're not?
Not this year.
Okay.
Not this year.
Where are you next then?
On Tuesday, I'm at the Grain Dealers Association meeting. That's in Fargo. I mean, I got my calendar, but
No, that's fine. I'll watch for you somewhere.
you'll see me. I'm all over. I am booked solid until the end of March. I have 0 days. I have 0 days. That happened before Christmas.
I don't have too many bad driving days.